Welcome back, viewers. Today we will learn about the famous writer William Blake. William Blake, 1757-1827. He was born in 1757 in Soho, London, England, and he died in 1827 in Charing Cross, London, England. William Blake was a poet, painter, printmaker, visionary, and an illustrator. His nationality is English. William Blake lived during the Romantic era, where he defied all conventions of both neoclassicism and Romanticism. He combined art, poetry, and mysticism to express a deeply personal spiritual vision. He was not widely recognized in his lifetime, but he is now considered a founding figure of Romanticism in both literature and visual art. William Blake was the third of 7 children, 2 of whom died in infancy, born to his parents James and Catherine Blake. His father was a hosiery merchant, not wealthy but respectable. From an early age, Blake displayed artistic and visionary tendencies. He claimed to have seen angels and spirits, such as a tree filled with angels on a Peckham ride at age 9. His parents recognized his artistic gifts, but they did not send him to formal school. Instead, he was homeschooled by his mother, focusing on the Bible and mystical readings. At age 10, Blake was sent to Henry Pass Drawing School in the Strand, London, where he learned basic art and design. At the age of 14, he was apprenticed to James Bezier, an engraver for 7 years, from 1772 to 1779. This experience profoundly shaped his later work, especially his skill in etching and relief engraving. After completing his apprenticeship, William Blake studied briefly at the Royal Academy of Arts, where he was critical of academic style and Sir Joshua Reynolds' artistic philosophy. He favored imagination over reason and idealized their beauty. In 1782, Blake married Catherine Butcher, an illiterate woman who became his lifelong partner and a collaborator. He taught her to read, write, and assist him in printing and coloring his works. They had no children, but the marriage was deeply devoted. The couple lived in relative poverty most of their lives, moving frequently. Blake was known for his eccentric personality. Visionary, spiritual, and often misunderstood, he claimed to converse with angels, prophets, and deceased poets. His major works include Poetical Sketches 1783, his first collection of poetry published at his friend's expense. Songs of Innocence 1789 celebrates childhood, purity, divine love, and innocence. Songs of Experience 1794, a companion to Songs of Innocence, revealing the darker, corrupted side of human nature. Then he combined both of these works under the title Songs of Innocence and of Experience, showing the two contrary states of the human souls. The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, 1790-1793, a radical visionary prose poem mixing satire, mysticism, and philosophy, challenges organized religion and a moral dualism. The Book of Tell, 1789, an allegory on innocence, sexuality, and death. Visions of the Daughters of Albion, 1793, critique of sexual repression and social injustice. America, a Prophesy, 1793, and a next work, Europe, a Prophesy, 1794. A political and mythological commentaries on revolution and oppression. The next work, The Book of Urizen, 1794, presents Blake's mythological universe, focusing on the tyrannical god Urizen, very simple of law and reason. The next work, Milton, a Poem, 1804-1808, features the poet Milton's spirit returning to correct his own errors. The next work, Jerusalem, the emanation of the giant Albion, 1804-1820. His most ambitious prophetic work, exploring the redemption of the human soul and a nation. The next work, Illustrations for the Book of Job, 1825, considered one of the greatest achievements in religious art. Illustrations for Dante's Divine Comedy, 1824-1827, is an unfinished work. The Ancient of Days, 1794, one of his most iconic prints representing Urizen measuring the world. Now let's analyze the key themes and ideas in Blake's works. First of all, innocence versus experience. Central moral and psychological contrast. Innocence as purity and spiritual vision. Experience as corruption and worldly disillusionment. Imagination as divine vision. Blake believed imagination was the body of God and the highest of form of truth, a way of perceiving eternity through creativity. Religious and mystical symbolism. He rejected organized religion but embraced a deeply personal visionary Christianity, seeing Christ as imagination incarnate. Social critique and political radicalism. He attacked tyranny, oppression, poverty, and industrial dehumanization, sympathetic to the French and American revolutions. Mythology and archetypes. Created a personal mythological universe that is Urizen, Los, Orc, Albion, Enithraman, etc., representing spiritual and psychological states. Sexual freedom and feminism. He advocated liberation from sexual repression and a gender inequality, especially in visions of the daughters of Albion. The unity of art and religion. For William Blake, art was prophesy, a means to reveal divine truth and restore the lost harmony between body, soul, and spirit. Political and social engagement. Blake was a radical thinker and sympathetic to revolutionary causes, including the American and French revolutions, though he disapproved of the later violence. He associated with radicals like Thomas Paine and Mary Wollstonecraft. He condemned industrial exploitation, child labor, and a corruption of church and state. His poetry, especially the poem London from Songs of Experience, exposes the urban misery and spiritual decay of 18th century England. William Blake died largely unrecognized and impoverished, but his reputation grew steadily in the 19th and 20th centuries. Today, Blake is revered as a pioneer of Romanticism, a forerunner of symbolism, and a bridge between mysticism, psychology, and art. His phrase, that is, to see a world in a grain of sand, encapsulates his cosmic vision of unity. William Blake invented the technique relief etching, that means illuminated painting, a unique method of combining poetry and art in a single print. He combined mysticism, psychology, and social criticism centuries before Jung or Freud. He blended visual art and literature into a single visionary form long before multimedia art existed. Blake was once charged with a sedition in 1803 for allegedly cursing King George III, but was acquitted. He claimed to see ghosts of kings, angels, and even God regularly. Blake worked for book illustrators and publishers in obscurity to make ends meet. His final work, the illustrations for Dante, was left unfinished. He worked on it until the day of his death. His death was serene. He reportedly sang hymns and smiled, saying he was going to that country he had all his life been singing of. Blake was buried in an unmarked grave in Burnhill Field, London, and his grave was rediscovered and marked only in 2018.